With question 27 of Prima Secunda, we talk about the cause of love. And I was just thinking about this today is that the teaching of St. Thomas Aquinas overall is an absolutely beautiful, just glorious teaching. And once it starts to seep into your, not only just your intellectual knowledge of it, that you have an understanding of what he's talking about, but when it starts to affect the way you live and the way you see the world and the way everything kind of makes sense around you. It's really transformative. And the Holy Spirit, I think, used St. Thomas Aquinas in such a powerful way. And that's why he's the doctor of the doctor and the patron saint of all Catholic school education. So if you're beginning to see life differently, then it's working, okay? And that's really the effect of learning, and not only learning Thomistic philosophy, but applying it to your life. And I think the teaching on love, even the passion of love, as we're talking about right now, is one of those type of teachings that I just encourage you to incorporate into your life. And I'll give you some examples as we go along in these 4 articles on the cause of love. The first article says whether good is the only cause of love. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, and I've mentioned many times, as soon as you see that word good, you should not just think of a good day or a good dinner or a good friend. You should think of God. You should think of the goodness of God as his third attribute, as we learned way back when in Prima Pars, so that you should never think of good. Like Plato in his realm of forms, the highest of all his forms was good, the good, all right? So this is a very, very significant word in both theology and also philosophy as well. So is good the cause of love? Now, Thomas, of course, is talking about passions here, but everything is related to God. Even if he doesn't directly say it here, it's implied, and it's going to come out more explicitly as we go through the Summa. He says love belongs to the appetitive power, which is a passive faculty. Appetite means desire, okay? That which we desire. Things have goodness in them, and then we desire them because of that. Wherefore, its object stands in relation to it as the cause of its movement or act. Therefore, the cause of love must need be love's object. Now, the proper object of love is the good, because love implies a certain connaturalness or complacency of the lover for the thing beloved. And to everything, that thing is a good which is akin and proportionate to it. It follows, therefore, that good is the proper cause of love. Now, we in our current age have a very narrow idea of love. We might think of sexual love or romantic love, or the love of a mother for a child, or a father for a husband to his wife. And these are certainly all examples of love. But what Thomas means is something much broader than that. I'm trying to think of the last line of Dante's Divine Comedy, where he says something along the lines of love is that which makes the stars and the moon move. And that's not the line, but it's something like that. It's that this love is what makes everything work. And so just today, I was walking out of a grocery store and I saw birds flying, from the in the sky towards a tree in the parking lot, and I thought of the fact that they wouldn't be moving if they didn't have some kind of appetite for a good. Something about that tree was good. There was a whole lot of them together, so they had the good of fellowship in a bird way, and so there was a goodness that was drawing them to that, okay? And that is what St. Thomas Aquinas is talking about as love. He's talking about anything that draws us to something that we deem to be good, okay, is love. And so it's again, you got to broaden that idea of what love is. And of course, there is a hierarchy without a doubt. So that's how good is the cause of love. Article 2, whether knowledge is the cause of love. And he says, good is the cause of love as being its object. Okay, that's what we just talked about. But good is not the object of the appetite except as apprehended. And therefore, love demands some apprehension of the good that is loved. For this reason, the philosopher Aristotle says that bodily sight is the beginning of sensitive love. All right, so we have to see that steak dinner that I'm going to have tonight, and then we're drawn to it, and then we rest in it, right? The love, the desire, the joy, these concupiscible appetites, that we rest in it. And then irascible appetite of hoping to have it for dinner tomorrow night, but it's arduous because it's not, it's not there, it's not in the planning stage, or it's something that may be a little bit more challenging because maybe we can't afford it, or maybe it's not there is no steak, and I don't have that kind of dinner, but it's possible, but it's going to be an arduous good, right? All right, so, and in like manner, the contemplation of spiritual beauty or goodness is the beginning of a spiritual love. Accordingly, knowledge is the cause of love for the same reason as good is, which can be loved only if known. Now, what he doesn't say is, can the birds that I used in the example before, can they know the goodness of being in that tree with their friends? Maybe some limited type of knowledge, but it's not apprehension in the sense of intellect, of knowing or abstracting the forms of that goodness. That's reserved and proper only to a creature with intellect or reason. Article 3, whether likeness is a cause of love. Now, likeness, as you can see in this picture, clearly mom and daughter look a lot alike. So they have a likeness to each other. As if you have children, you'll probably notice some likeness that in the children that you have born into the world. Likeness, properly speaking, is a cause of love, but it must be observed that likeness between two things is twofold. One kind of likeness arises from each thing having the same quality actually, like these two. For example, two things possessing the quality of whiteness as are said to be alike. Okay, two white things, not necessarily white people or just white dogs, or it could be black dogs or brown dogs, or golden dogs. Another kind of likeness arises from one thing having potentially and by way of inclination a quality which the other has actually. Thus we may say that a heavy body existing outside its proper place is like a heavy body that exists in its proper place, which is down below, because that's what a heavy object wants to do. It wants to drop to the lowest place, according as potentiality bears the resemblance to its act, since act is contained in a manner in the potentiality itself. Okay, accordingly, the first kind of likeness causes love of friendship or well-being, for the very fact that two men are alike, having as it were one form, makes them to be in a manner one in that form. Thus, two men are one in the species of humanity. Hence, the affections of one tend to the other. Okay, we like to hang around fellow humans more typically than we like to hang around grasshoppers or butterflies or even dogs. I mean, being around another human is a whole different experience. Why? Because there's a likeness. There's a commonality in the species. Okay, as being one with him, and he wishes good to him as to himself. But the second kind of likeness causes love of concupiscence, or friendship founded on usefulness or pleasure. Again, somebody has something that you only have potentially, but they have actually, and so you like it, right? Because whatever is in potentiality as such has the desire for its act and takes pleasure in its realization, if it be a sentient and cognitive being. Okay. In the love of concupiscence, the lover, properly speaking, loves himself in willing the good that he desires. But a man loves himself more than another, because he is one with himself substantially, whereas with another he is one only in likeness of some form. Okay, this is a very important principle that Thomas teaches. I'm sure he got it from Aristotle, is that we naturally love ourselves. We naturally protect and keep ourselves alive. And we also love others, but that natural instinct is to love oneself. Consequently, if this other's likeness to him arising from a participation of a form hinders him from gaining the good that he loves, he becomes hateful to him, not for being like him, but for hindering him from gaining his own good. This is why potters quarrel among themselves, because they hinder one another's gain, and why there are contentions among the proud, because they hinder one another in attaining the position they covet. So interesting in all this talk about love and likeness and things like that. He turns it around and says, well, this is why also we might hate something, because it's taking away that which we love, which we have already covered. Okay, Article 4 is a short one. Whether any other passion of the soul is a cause of love. He says, there is no other passion of the soul that does not presuppose love of some kind, right? So every passion, as we have learned, is caused by love, directly or indirectly. The reason is that every other passion of the soul implies either movement towards something or rest in something. Now, every movement towards something or rest in something arises from some kinship or aptness to that thing, and in this does love consist. Therefore, it is not possible for any other passion of the soul to be universally the cause of every love, but it may happen that some other passion is the cause of some particular love, just as one good is the cause of another. And it's interesting, he talked about the passions being an inclination towards something or resting in something. Well, in some cases, the passions are running away from the good, like despair is a movement away from the good. And some of the passions have as their object evil, but it's only evil because ultimately we hate something or we fear something because it's evil, but it's threatening to take away a good that we love. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that. That's question 27 of the Summa on the cause of love. And tomorrow we will go into the effects of love. 6 articles on the effects of love. Thanks for watching as we go through the Summa one question at a time. God bless you.